Welcome to the Rock and Roll Podcast Plus One, your all access pass to the people who make the music we all love. As a member of Saigon Kick and Cold Sweat, co-host Chris McLernan has himself gone platinum. Radio veteran Jack Trash cut his on-air teeth at the legendary metal rocker KNAC-FM in Los Angeles. And together, Jack and Chris talk to friends old and new, and you are on the guest list as their plus one.
Welcome into episode number 3 of Plus One. I'm Jack Trash.
And I'm Chris McLernan.
And today, our guest came to us via a storage unit.
Which sounds a little bit like a Hannibal Lecter-ish, but, you know, it's not.
It's not. So I've been cleaning out a storage unit for like a month now, and I came across a big box of cassettes. And so walking down memory lane with the cassettes, I came across this one, which you can't really read, but it says Precious Metal, That Kind of Girl, which was a band that came out of LA in the 80s, all girl rock band. And this is really cool. I mean, there's some really good songs on here.
Yeah, they were really good.
So we were trying to decide who we were going to have on this week. And I said, well, let's just see who in Precious Metal and what they're doing.
Yeah.
And so I typed in Precious Metal and I got a bunch of rings and
yeah, right. Yeah.
platinum and all that kind of stuff. And then I put in Precious Metal rock band. And the first person to come up was Janet Robin, who was the guitar player for Precious Metal. And I saw on her website, she's doing a lot of cool things. And it's kind of like, well, this could be good. So I just wrote her and she wrote back and said, sure, I'll take a chance on you fellers.
Yeah.
So one thing that really jumped out is something that we're going to ask her first, and something that she's been asked a million times, but it's worth it. But before we get to that, did you have, when you were a youngster, did you have somebody who taught you guitar, taught you bass?
I did. Her name was Chris Collier, and it was in Mount Vernon, Ohio. And I found her probably through our church, St. Vincent de Paul Catholic Church in Mount Vernon. And she was another Irish family, so there's like 19 of her, in the family. She was the first one who sat me down and said, okay, play like this, put your chords here, put your hands like this. You can do, and she taught me runs, which is mean you can play like a thing like leads from one chord to another.
Right. Which
I had never heard of. I thought, wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And she taught me this song. I think it was by Peter, Paul and Mary called Give a Damn. It was all runs. And I was like, wow, I didn't know you could do that.
Really? So a Catholic school teacher teaches you a song called Give a Damn?
Yep. Well, we were in her house, so anything goes.
We're out of class.
Right. And at the time too, I mean, she's out now. So she's I think she's and I'm like fascinated. At some point I want to talk to her about this. So you were in a tiny little town and you were a lesbian. How did you deal with that? I mean, in the 70s, that's a brave soul.
Ohio.
In Ohio, yeah. It wasn't San Diego.
Right.
So but she was awesome and still is. I found her on Facebook. And she at one point I brought in Hotel California to her. It's like, can you show me how to play this? And she's like, she's gonna try to figure it out and put a capo here and do this or there. Because you only had records. You didn't have all these 92 people on YouTube saying, oh, Hotel California guitar lesson.
Right.
She showed me as much as she could because I was trying to figure out stuff by ear. And I hadn't really learned how to do it yet. And I think she was more of a song chart person. And so I went home and I was excited because I was like, wow, I got to head up on this. At least I know what I'm doing. And she called my father and said, look, I can't teach him anymore. He knows as much as I know. And my father's like, what the hell happened? Why did why doesn't your guitar teacher want to teach you anymore? I'm like, I don't know. What do you mean? And he said, she called me and said you can't take lessons anymore because you blah, blah, blah. I'm just going, so I outran her apparently.
Okay.
But when I got hold of her, about 5 years ago on Facebook, she's like, well, I could tell you had the bug. This is what you want to do. And you had it. And, I'm glad you did something with it. But yeah, she was invaluable to my, my formative years. No doubt.
Wow. All right. So we're going to get right to it here. Janet Robin, formerly of Precious Metal. And you're going to find out a whole bunch of stuff that she's been doing since then.
Yeah. And before.
Yeah. And her guitar teacher, I think you might know who it is.
You might. You just might.
I'm not going away, no, anywhere. After Precious Metal, there was tons of life left for me.
Right. And we want to get to all of that.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So what we like to do here to start off these interviews is give you the floor for 2 minutes. You can talk about whatever you got going on. You can talk about, Grimace is the greatest McDonald's character, whatever you want to talk about we give you 2 minutes. This is the Anthony Corder rule.
Yes, yeah.
Love it. Okay. Are we recording?
Yeah, we're all good.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, what I'm doing now currently is I'm focusing my efforts mostly on my guitar trio, which is called the String Revolution.
Cool.
We are all instrumental, all guitar, mostly acoustic at the moment, but we also we can all play electric as well. But that came about 7 years ago. So it's been steadily rising, and things have been going really well for the band. So I go where where I'm wanted. I was doing a solo thing for quite a long time and touring in Europe and doing sort of the singer-songwriter solo thing with focus on my guitar playing, since that's kind of my, what I'm known for. And I did that for a pretty solid 10 years, of touring, and mostly in Europe, where they actually pay you.
What a concept.
Yeah, they do. They ask you what songs you played that night so they can report them to your programming rights organization.
Yeah, they do that too. And they don't ask how old you are, and they don't care if you're a girl who plays rock and roll guitar. I mean, just,
you're an artist and you're here, and we're so glad. Yeah.
They're extremely loyal, and they love all kinds of music. I mean, I was on quite large festivals out there where it was like, a metal band would go on, and then after that would be like a classical quartet. Then there would be like me doing my solo thing, and everybody stays. And so that was great. I really enjoyed that. But right now I'm focusing on the String Revolution. I'm also doing a bit more production. I'm working with an artist. Her name's Anna Mincer, great singer. And we're actually doing an interesting new version of Enter Sandman. She's a great singer, and we've totally reinvented that song. So I've been really getting into my studio, working here and enjoying the whole production process. And beyond that, I'm doing some master classes. I also work for a rock and roll fantasy camp, which is starting next week again for another one. That'll be with Zach Wild, Marty Friedman, and Mike Portnoy from Dream
Shredfest.
I've done about 4 of those camps now as a mentor.
Right.
I'm also a mentor for the Grammy University. They call it Grammy U, but it's all online. For college kids looking to get into the business, or the musician side, but both sides, because as you know, as a musician, you also have to know the business side.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And teaching some private clients, some private students, and a little consulting here and there, and just keeping busy.
I was gonna say, it sounds like busy. That's what it sounds like.
Busy. I mean, sometimes it comes in clumps, and I'm like, oh my God, this is way too much. And then there's like a long thing of very more quiet, but I have to remember that it's going to come again.
Rest up.
That's right. Yeah.
Right. They came while the sun shines. Yeah. No kidding.
Wow.
Listen, as long as I have my guitar in my hand when I'm doing anything regarding music,
right,
I'm a happy person.
Yeah, I hear you.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, speaking of the guitar, we're going to go way back here, because something that jumped off the page when I was reading your bio is who your guitar teacher was when you were coming up.
Yes. Of course, I get asked that question quite a bit, and it was the amazing Randy Rhoads.
Now, what was the time period here?
So that's about 1977. I am 57 years old.
Me too.
I'm 61.
Don't we look amazing?
Yes, absolutely.
You go back. I just saw a post. that name is Carol O'Connor, when he was doing All in the Family.
Yeah.
He was 45 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think
Way better than that.
Gene Stapleton was like 43.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if they purposely made them look older, but they looked way older than that.
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
Wow.
they did.
Well, listen, they weren't musicians, so we're inherently,
There you go. See,
they have those genes. It's just
right. We play music. We don't work it. That's why we're also bright and shiny.
I had the luck to grow up in North Hollywood, California, and literally like two blocks away was Musonia, which was the school that Randy's mom ran, music school.
See, yeah.
And me and my brother were already taking lessons at another place called Valley Arts Guitar that doesn't exist anymore.
Ron Ventura, yeah, I remember that place.
That's right. And my brother wanted to start taking electric, and I don't know where my mom, she doesn't remember, but somebody told my mom about Randy, that there was this great electric guitar teacher. That's all we knew, And then my mom was like, "Oh, it's great. It's right around the corner. No more driving down to Ventura, Ventura Boulevard." So my brother moved over there, and then he started taking, and then I moved over there, but I was taking from another woman who was still teaching acoustic. And then I was begging to play electric guitar, trying to follow in the footsteps of my brother. And yeah, so I was about 9 when I finally, I had to borrow my brother's electric guitar until I got my own. But luckily enough, my parents, were generous and finally got me a Strat, which, by the way, somebody stole out of my mom's station. The 1977 Olympic white Strat. Somebody has that. Really, like,
it's not like musicians all understand when you can name the dings on it, you can name the serial number, you can name all that stuff. Like, no, it's just a guitar. No, it's not. No, it's not.
I don't have children, but it's like somebody has, kidnapped your guitar. Yeah. I was very young, but I was so upset. Oh my God, it was terrible. But yeah, I started with him. I was around 9, something like that, maybe 10. And 77. And in 78, my guitar got stolen, and I went, and Guitar Center was a tiny little room.
That's right.
My uncle knew the manager there, and he got us a deal on a Les Paul Custom, which I had to have because Randy had one. Yeah, but I didn't get the white one. I got the black one.
Nice.
I had to be a little different, which, by the way, I still have.
Nice.
So happy to take that out for you later if you're interested. But so I got that guitar, and just the lessons with Randy. It was special. Even then, when I was young, I was like, this is special. This guy is special. I was bringing my neighbors, my friends, like from neighborhood, you got to come to my guitar lesson, which, by the way, was 30 minutes, and it was $8.
Wow. Amazing. That's not a lunch at Taco Bell these days. Come on.
Yeah.
Frankly, as far as I know, there was maybe only one other girl that I never saw, and I don't think she continued lessons. But I was definitely the youngest student of his, if not the only girl that continued.
Right.
But he really could give a shit. I mean, which was so great for me, because I had such a complex growing up with older brothers, and I was just really trying to find myself, and nothing was working. Like T-ball wasn't working.
Right.
Tap dancing. I was like, no, and I wasn't athletic. And once I found the guitar, even when I started on acoustic, it was like became a third arm to me. No one was telling me to practice. And then when I got with Randy, it blossomed even more. And I think because he didn't give me a complex, he really lifted my self-esteem. I was always like, oh, I'm a girl, I can't do this, or I'm not allowed to do that, or so. I mean, he could fucking give a rat's shit about that. And he's like, you got to practice. And then I would watch him. I'd be like, fuck yeah, I want to be like you. You know? But then he would say, you don't want to be like me. I don't want you to play like me.
Sure. Yeah.
I want you to learn like from me, and I'll show you techniques and things. And then you have to kind of develop your own sound. And he was really a proponent of that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It sounds like he was the type of teacher that would go, all right, I'm gonna give you the alphabet and a couple of words, but you got to make your own paragraph.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
You know,
and I'm very interested because he couldn't have been. He was still in his teens, wasn't he?
yeah, he was like 20 or maybe or something.
Maybe early 20s. Yeah.
Yeah,
He was very young.
That's wise for being 20 and just the lessons that he gave you.
Yeah, he was like a 45-year-old living in a 20-year-old. I mean, he was, you know, a prodigy. And he just got he got so good so fast. You can read about how he studied, who he studied with and all that. But he was in Quiet Riot, you know, and they were starting to get a buzz around LA.
Right.
And I clearly remember going to the Starwood, which also doesn't exist anymore. And I couldn't get in because you had to be 18 or something. I don't know. And so my parents would come with me and bring me to my guitar teacher's show.
Nice.
You know, I was so lucky with my parents. Just so lucky. They supported me. They could tell that this was making me really, really happy to play guitar.
It was part of you. So, I mean, they know how to develop it, as opposed to like my parents weren't negative, but they didn't know what to do because I was so not on the family map.
Right.
Right. Like, oh, okay, well, we don't want to stop him. He's
Right.
not running liquor stores like his cousin. So, you know what? I know where he is. My dad said later, I know where he is. I can hear him practicing.
Right.
Know?
Right.
Okay, good enough. But yeah, I've had other parents who were like just so down on the kid. It's horrible.
I know it's horrible. That can be a motivator as well.
Yeah, and it was in some cases.
You know, which as long as you don't, you know, doesn't damage your self-esteem, that can also be a motivator. But parents were always really supportive. And then I think, you know, by taking me to the shows, they had to watch them, and they were like, even though maybe they weren't into that music, they were like, oh my God, wow, he's amazing. You know, so they were like, oh, she's going to keep taking lessons from this guy, you know?
That's fantastic.
So, yeah.
All right. So flashback a little further than that. So you're in precious metal, right?
Yeah.
So like now these days, all girl bands are like common. I mean, you got, you know, Taylor Swift is causing more commotion at the football game than the entire Kansas City Chiefs roster, right? Back then, because I was there too. I mean, precious metal is like one of maybe 2, maybe 3 bands that were all female. Like I think there was Leather Angel and like maybe Ron Keel Game. Like that's it.
I feel like there's a few bands that get a lot more attention than perhaps, you know, the underground bands that didn't get as big as some. And that I understand, you know, that's the way it is, but it's true. Like when we came out, it was 1983 or 19 around that. I got in the band in 83 in high school. Okay. And it literally right after Randy died, you know, and I was the youngest one in the band. I mean, our first show was at my high school, you know, at the lunchtime quad. The only bands I knew of that were all girl bands were the Go-Go's, the Bangles, but you know, they were like very pop, and we were like, you know, we wanted to be the next Runaways.
Yes. Yeah.
That's really what we wanted to be.
Yes.
And yes, I knew a Leather Angel. I knew of what's that band in England with Girl Skull. Knew of them.
Yep.
I didn't really know of Fanny until a little bit later, you know.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, you know, a lot of these bands just didn't get a lot of recognition. But I mean, I was playing clubs out here in LA, and I mean, I never saw any female musicians on stage unless they were a singer.
Nope, you didn't, especially in the hard rock realm. You just didn't.
Especially. I mean, Vixen came a little bit later.
Yeah.
And we got signed to a major label, but they got a much bigger deal, and you know, more money was piled in them. But yeah, I mean, I kind of liken precious metal to like going to college, especially since I didn't end up going to UCLA. I dropped out, you know. So it was like college for good 6-7 years in precious metal, learning the biz and the being in a band and all the drama that comes with that. And then, cut to like a couple of years later after we broke up, 7 years later, starting to work with Lindsey Buckingham. And that was like going to master's school, graduate school.
Yeah. Well, and considering the two bands and the two styles, it's like going from, English to French,
Totally different. I remember going to the audition and I was in like my black tights, and granted it was like 1992 or something like that. So, it was grunge.
Yeah.
Right? But I still have my, my tights, my black tights and my like cowboy boots and, some crazy shirt. And, I went to the audition and he's a funny guy, it was the longest. First of all, the audition was like 5 hours.
Wow. So you did well. You knew that right away.
I actually didn't know what the hell happened. So
really?
He taught you guys, he taught us, there was a couple of us audition. Actually, I was auditioning only, and there were a couple people that were already in the band. So he would give me a part, I would play it, he would see how I could play it. He would give me a singing part, a background part, I would do that, but then we would sit down and, just talk, like he's just talking, and then I remember him saying, "So is that how you dress?" And I was like, well, I can wear some other things, but yeah, I came from a kind of a metal band and I didn't know if that was a good thing to say or not. And, yeah, it was the craziest audition ever. And I think it's because, he comes from such a tight knit band that, he was creating a new solo band, a new family. And he wanted to see what it was going to be like to just hang with you, because of course you're only on stage 90 minutes of the time on the road. The rest of the time you're fucking hanging out and shit. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So you're in a metal tube and you better get along.
So I got in my car after the audition and I was like, what was that? I didn't know if I did good or bad, or I did, and I didn't hear for 2 weeks.
Oh, so wow. Yeah, that's confusing. Yeah, because usually with those auditions, it's if you you did well if you're there for a little bit, and if you did bad, it's like, okay, after one song, thank you very much.
Right.
Other people to see. Don't let the door hit you on the ass on the way out.
There was none of that. It was an unusual audition, but he is an unusual person, and I mean that in a very good way. Yeah. I think when I look back at my career, I think about all the different mentors and people that came into my life at the right time and at the right place and for the right reasons. I love metal, I love hard rock and power pop rock and all that, but it was over at that time.
Oh yeah.
And precious metal was over. And I was working at a recording studio, and Leslie from the band, the singer, we started this like power pop rock band, and I don't know, I wasn't that jazzed about that, and I didn't know what to do, and this audition fell into my lap.
How'd you hear about it?
It was actually somebody who worked at our previous label, like Capital Chameleon, who worked at that label that was starting to work for this sort of agent out here that was responsible for helping find musicians for major celebrities.
Yes, yeah, there was a couple places like that. There's one called Lucy Forbes Rock Congress was one of them.
Okay, this was Deborah something. I don't know. Yeah. I didn't know where it doesn't exist anymore. But it was so specific because in Lindsay's band, he was really creating a unique situation. He wanted 5 guitar players, like a guitar army.
Wow.
And
whoa.
Within that, the band was a 10-piece band, but 5 guitar players he wanted, with him, right? 2 men and 2 women. And the reason he wanted 2 women is because he wanted the female vocal.
Sure. Sing, yeah. I would think, with his catalog, you'd have to.
Yeah. And of course, yes, we were going to do some Fleetwood Mac songs. And again, I was with somebody who could give a fucking rat's ass that I was a woman player.
Right.
And this was probably the hardest lesson that I had in my career. Was I got the gig, and a little bit, just a little,
Just a little.
a little.
Little.
Yeah, keep your head in check, but it was a little bit, and I was working hard and getting all the parts, but we did not know that he was taping all of us individually at the rehearsals.
Okay.
We were all on a separate ADAT track,
Huh.
everything, our vocal and our guitar. And
Wow.
so after rehearsals, he would sit and listen to everybody
In front of you, or just for his own review?
on his own review. And so he did. I wasn't the only one he came to, but he did come to a couple of us, and he sat us down. He said, I've been listening to what you're doing on these songs and this part and that part, and you're off singing off key here, and you're not in time on this part. And then he said, if you don't fix that, I have to fire you.
Wow. Well, at least he's clear about it.
Yeah. At least you know where he stood.
He's clear about everything. That's the way he is. I kind of like that about him. But I had a fucking shit attack, guys. I was like, so, I still talk to Lindsay, and I always joke with him, like, dude, you're the reason I'm on fucking anti-anxiety medication now, because, when he sat me down, I'm such a, like, especially back then, I was really a high achiever and perfectionist, and especially being a girl surrounded by all, I was like, I have to do 200%, but I can't make any mistake. And the fact that I was making mistakes, I was like, what the fuck? What am I doing wrong? And so the few of us that he talked to, that got the talking to, we all got together and started working on all of our parts individually and together. And the band was starting to get together without him separately and getting our shit together. I hired like a vocal teacher. I went back to guitar lessons. I was taping myself on my 4-track and listening back. I mean, I spent all my salary on teachers and everything, because we were getting ready to play Jay Leno, basically. And then we were getting ready to go on the road.
Right.
And he wanted it perfect, because that's how he rolls. He is a perfectionist.
Wow.
Well, and also looking where he came from too. There's a status that he achieved that like almost no one else does. So there's an expectation once he walks on, it's supposed to sound like a certain way.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, he wanted to put his stamp on those Fleetwood Mac songs, but the harmonies have to be there. The parts have to, everything has to be there and be better, even better than Fleetwood Mac.
Right.
Sometimes we got a couple comments like that, but yeah, that was a huge lesson. And like I said, yeah, I mean, I've talked to him later about it and actually thanked him. I mean, I was just like 22, 23. Wow. And I was like, you scared the fucking shit out of me, And
are you kidding me? I mean, it's like literally, he's like an icon of the 70s, and you're pulling aside going, hey kid, we want to keep you in the game, but.
And so he said to me, I knew you would rise to the occasion.
Wow. That's awesome. The fact he's behind you, I'll take the criticism. There's someone behind me, like I want you to do well.
And he has a reputation of being, hard ass and difficult and, intense. And I understand that, but I gotta say that was probably the best lesson as far as being a musician, number one, and also being, of course, a hired musician that I ever had in my whole career was watch your fucking head, keep your feet on the ground, pay attention, you might think you're getting this part or you're doing this thing right or that right. Watch out.
What was the next thing you did, and how did you carry that over into it?
Well, the whole band got super tight after that. So the few of us that were singled out, we did all of our work and we did rise to the occasion. And then the other guys supported us. Cool. And when he came back to rehearsals, he was like, okay, we're ready. We sound good. And then, we went on the road and the band just gets better and better when you're on the road. Right. I mean, and
can't help it, but you do.
Yeah. I remember one time, I mean, we were doing really well and you're in that flow, and we were on tour with Tina Turner opening for her. And I know that was a tough tour for him because, I mean, he was going out there, we were playing and people were like, who's that guy? Until we started playing Go Your Own Way. Then we're like, oh, it's that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. But you know, it was Tina Turner's show. So, but I was like, oh my God, I'm playing arenas, you know, like this is like fucking dream come true, you know. But he had his own psychological stuff going on. And I know that one day he wanted one show, he wanted to, you know, he's like, let's all get high. Let's just all get high and go on stage. And I'm like, wow, that's just not like Lindsay. Like, you know, because he was calling people out like no drinking before the show and you're smoking too much, in your voice, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, really? You know, so I was like, all right, you know, and it was the show was so bad, you know. I mean, I'm sure it wasn't bad. Like you guys would probably be like, that was a great show.
Right, yeah.
You know, according to what we had been playing all the way up to that time that we did that. And then, you know, we were just down like after that show. And he's like, all right, we're never doing that again, you know.
We got it out of the way. Yeah.
Right. But that experience of being with him for it was a good three years, you know. Yeah. It was amazing.
That's awesome.
It was really amazing. And he was a force. He was actually the force that encouraged me to start singing more on my own, write my own songs, do something solo. He encouraged me. We wrote Together Alone and smoked hashish together. He's sober, by the way, now. But he was, you know, after the band, after that time period moved away and he got back with Fleetwood Mac, you know, he was sending me his song ideas. I was sending him my, you know, completed demos, and he was, you know, and he, you know, he's like, well, yeah, the song is, you know, your music's pretty cool, but I would never sing that. I would never sing those lyrics. I mean, he is like that, you know, he's which again, I mean, why pussyfoot?
Yeah.
You know,
there's no doubts here. Yeah, you know exactly what he thinks.
And I just saw him like a few months ago. We went and had lunch, and you know, I played him the latest track from the String Revolution, which is we did a very unique version of Folsom Prison Blues.
Oh, cool.
And the guest guitarist on it is a guy named Tommy Emmanuel, who
I know the name.
Yeah, he's like the best acoustic guitar player in the world. And of course, Lindsay was like, who? You know, he doesn't know who he is either. And I'm like, I want to play it for you, you know, in the car. And I'm at this point where now I'm like, you know what? Whatever he says, like, I'm good because I don't work for you anymore. I've done a lot of other shit after you. And
he can't fire you anymore.
Well, he could hire me.
He can't fire you.
All right, he can't fire me anymore. Yeah, right. And so I was just ready, you know, for whatever. But he sat in my car and he was like closing his eyes, and you know, he loved it. He thought it was great. You know, he's like, oh, I love, you know, because it's instrumental. So I know he's like a vocal guy as well. Right. But he's like, oh, you guys did the layers and this and that. I mean, he was talking about shit. But it was such an interesting lunch, you know. But I mean, I don't want to get too personal about stuff, but you know, it's been quite a ride for him. And Christine just died, and he's thinking about his legacy, and I think he's thinking about his mortality. And so I felt like there was like I was just telling him, oh, you know, man, you don't even know your legacy. You know, I am sure he does, but he, you know, it's different when you're the person. And so I really felt like in some way the tables had turned a little bit.
Right.
Wow.
You know, because I was like, you know, saying stuff. Yeah.
No, I mean, not exactly, but you know what I mean. You're a peer. You've had a career. You've been yourself. You're now yourself.
Right.
And he knows, and he can recognize that. Yeah.
And it was a 3.5 hour lunch.
Sweet.
Like, oh, this is just like the audition.
The audition. Just like the audition.
Isn't everything? Yeah.
That's awesome. Awesome. Well, here on our show, which I spoke to Janet about before Chris got here, we don't spend any money. So we have exactly a minute, 7 seconds before the Zoom kicks us off. So
well, all you got to do is start another Zoom.
Well, this is true. Well, you are invited back anytime.
Please.
So in this, actually, I read it wrong. We have minutes right now.
Can I take up all of your questions? I'm sorry.
No, no, that's all good.
Oh no, I certainly have way more for you. So we got to do part 2.
We definitely have to do part 2. But before we go on this one, tell everybody, this is most important. Tell everybody where they can get your stuff.
Well, I mean, it's all about streaming. So, if you want to check out the String Revolution, go to our Spotify channel. I mean, we're doing pretty good, over 4 million streams. Yeah. And, we've made about $12.
Wow, they've doubled their rate.
And of course, you can look on our website, thestringrevolution.com. You can also check out my website, janetrobin.com. If you're interested in lessons, you can email me from there, or even the String Revolution. And no shows coming up currently. I am teaching rock and roll fantasy next week. People should check out the fantasy camps because they're amazing.
Cool.
And that's pretty much it.
So that was Janet Robin, and for finding somebody off a cassette in a storage unit, that was pretty fucking awesome.
I totally agree. That was a gold mine. It's like, what do they do? They have those storage wars or whatever, where they open it and they have to pay all this money. Yeah, well, we won no matter what.
We definitely won. The whole story with Lindsey Buckingham and them getting high before the show, just gold.
Yeah, Acapulco gold apparently.
Yeah.
And the thing that struck me was that Randy Rhoads, the way she talked about how he treated her and how he was just this seemingly just great spirit. And he knew how to translate that into people, and especially a girl in the 70s who's trying to be a rock and roller, and she's got an uphill battle. But he was really cool about it, because when you meet your heroes, there's that line that you don't want to cross.
Right.
That you're like, God, I hope he or she is cool. And there's God that just don't be a dickhead.
Right.
And when they live up to it, the sky's open.
I'm gonna guess because she does the rock and roll fantasy camps and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That I don't know anything about playing the guitar or anything like that. But I am a big golfer, and I have taken lessons from a few different people throughout my time playing golf, and they're all teaching the same thing.
Right.
But there's just, you find that person who says the same thing a way that you understand it. That is the key right there.
Yep. That is everything. And I talk guitar too. So, I mean, I know what it's like. You just keep after your student, like they're going to get it. I've got to just find how they learn.
Right.
And how they think and who they are. And then when you get it, it's like everything all of a sudden boom, just comes right in.
Right.
It's amazing. But yeah, can you imagine that? Okay, Mom and Dad, I want to go to the Starwood and see Quiet Riot.
Yeah.
I mean, at that point, you're just seeing a local band. And now you're like, no, you saw Quiet Riot with Randy Rhoads at the Starwood. It's like these 3 things that don't exist anymore.
Right.
I mean, it's crazy.
And here's the cosmic thing about this whole thing. This Precious Metal cassette.
Right.
On the back, Quiet Riot.
I love it when the universe smiles on us.
Exactly. Well, this one has been a good one. I enjoyed this a lot. We're gonna have Janet on again for sure, because
might have to do a part 2, because we didn't get to the 1977 Les Paul Custom. We didn't get to some of the other stories, and it's just she's got a career, and it's it doesn't 20-30 minutes. It's not enough.
That's not enough. So part 2 will be definitely coming. Go check out her website, janetrobin.com.
Yeah.
Until we speak again, I'm Jack Trash.
I'm Chris McClernand.
And live your life to 10+1.
See you, will call, baby.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Plus One, a rock and roll podcast. If you like what you heard, please subscribe to get all the latest backstage info. Check out our past shows on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And check out our video of this or past episodes on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. New episodes drop every Wednesday.